They say the gentle are safe. They say those who forgive, endure, and understand are the pillars of goodness. But I, Niccolo Machiavelli, learned long ago that gentleness is not the opposite of power. It is its camouflage. And when the gentle awaken, the world trembles. In every age, I observe the same pattern. Among the quiet, the loyal, and the obedient, there lies a storm. Men and women who endure insult after insult, betrayal after betrayal, not because they are weak, but because they are gathering knowledge. They are watching, recording, measuring, like generals in disguise. The fool mistakes their silence for surrender. The tyrant calls their patience submission. But I call incubation, the long sleep of power before it remembers itself. 1. The anatomy of the gentle. The gentle do not speak loudly. They rarely demand anything. They give. They forgive. They adapt. Their strength lies in seeing more than they are seen. Every cruel remark, every humiliation, every manipulation, these are lessons in human strategy. They learn not from books or teachers, but from pain itself. Pain, when endured without hatred, becomes an education. The weak man feels pain and collapses. The wise man feels pain and calculates. And the gentle, when they awaken, become something far more dangerous than either. They become precise. They do not seek revenge. They seek understanding. And understanding is the most lethal weapon of all. 2. The observation. I once wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved if one cannot be both. But there exists a rare breed of soul who learns to be both, not through ambition, but through betrayal. I watch them in courts, in homes, in cities and villages. The same transformation. A betrayal so profound that it tore away every illusion of love they had once worshipped. At that moment, they ceased to be merely kind. They became conscious. They saw manipulation for what it was, strategy without morality. They saw loyalty for what it often becomes, a chain. And they saw themselves, not as victims, but as untrained rulers who had mistaken tolerance for virtue. 3. The awakening. The moment of awakening is rarely loud. No tears, no rai. Only silence. The silence of someone who no longer begs to be understood. This is the birth of what I call the conscious soul, the being who has learned to merge feeling with reason. They no longer fight chaos with emotion, but with observation. They listen as others expose themselves with every careless word. They remember, catalog, and remain still until truth reveals itself naturally. To the manipulator, this stillness is terror. Because the awakened, gentle no longer reacts. And reaction is the manipulator's only food. 4. The shift in power. When the gentle awaken, they do not become cruel. They become strategic. They stop explaining themselves. They stop rescuing those who do not wish to be saved. They stop apologizing for seeing what others hide. Their kindness becomes selective. Their empathy becomes weaponized, directed only toward what is worthy. And this is where the balance of power changes forever. The predator feels it instantly. They sense that their words no longer penetrate. Their guilt no longer binds. Their threats no longer echo. For the first time, they stand before someone who sees through them completely. It is not aggression that unnerves the manipulator. It is clarity. The awakened, gentle, no longer seeks approval, and that makes them untouchable. 5. The strategy of awareness. True power, I wrote, lies not in domination, but in direction. And the awakened, gentle, direct their awareness like a blade through deception. They see patterns where others see coincidence. They detect ambition disguised as affection. They feel the motives behind every smile. They read the tremor in a voice, the glance that lingers too long, the silence that hides intent. Where others sense only mood, they sense design. This, my reader, is the highest form of intelligence, emotional accuracy aligned with intellectual detachment. Most rulers seek to command others. The wise command perception itself, and the one who commands perception commands reality. 6. The return of the self. When the gentle awaken, they do not announce their transformation. They simply begin to live differently. They leave quietly, build quietly, succeed quietly. Their past abusers feel their absence as a kind of spiritual drought. No more supply of forgiveness. No more easy access to pity. They wander the earth looking for another gentle soul to feed upon. But the awakened gentle has already poisoned the well with knowledge. To love, after awakening, is no longer naive. It is intentional. They love those who earn it. They protect those who reciprocate it. They no longer confuse endurance with virtue. They have learned that mercy without discernment is cruelty in disguise. 7. The Machiavellian mirror. When I studied princes and peasants alike, I saw one unspoken law of nature. The mind that sees clearly is feared by all who live through illusion. And nothing sees more clearly than one who has suffered enough to recognize every mask. The awakened gentle become living mirrors. They do not accuse, they reflect. And reflection is unbearable to those who survive on deceit. Around them, false friends vanish, flatterers grow silent, manipulators grow restless. Only the authentic remain. This is not punishment. It is purification. Power, you see, does not corrupt the gentle. It reveals their discipline. 8. The final lesson. If you are one of these people, those who have felt too deeply, forgiven too easily, endured too long, know this, your suffering was not a waste. It was training. The world's cruelty refined your perception the way fire tempers steel. But remember what I, Machiavelli, have always taught. Power without restraint becomes tyranny. So use your awakening not for vengeance, but for mastery. Direct your mind as a strategist, not as a savior. Serve truth, not sentiment. And above all, learn when to walk away rather than destroy. The gentle who awaken become what I call the invisible sovereigns, rulers of their own perception, untouchable by deceit, immune to manipulation. They need not declare war. Their silence is declaration enough. They need not expose the liar. The liar exposes himself in their presence. They need not demand loyalty. Truth itself becomes their ally. Such people are rare. But when they appear, they alter the nature of every room they enter. The corrupt sense danger. The weak sense hope. And the wise recognize themselves. 9. The philosophy of power reclaimed. The awakened gentle is proof of what I have always believed. Human nature is not destroyed by cruelty. It is sharpened by it. The worst betrayals are not ends, but initiations. They strip illusion and reveal what lies beneath. And beneath every true empath lies a strategist waiting to be born. The world needs no more martyrs who drown in other people's chaos. It needs sovereigns, those who feel deeply but rule themselves completely. That is the final evolution of kindness. Love with boundaries. Compassion with discernment. Empathy with power. So remember this lesson, my student of human nature. Never fear the gentle. Fear the day they understand their gentleness was never weakness. It was the mask of a mind learning how to see. For when they awaken, they do not seek to be loved or feared. They become both. And that, my friend, is what I call the perfection of power. The world worships kindness, but it obeys clarity. The one who possesses both does not need a throne. Their very presence governs the room. If you've reached this understanding, write this. I see. I choose. I rule myself. Because that is the creed of the awakened gentle and the mark of every true Machiavellian soul.